All right, hey everybody, Bill here. So for this session, we're going to talk about our pre-trip prep, and we're going to start with the first stop that my wife Jackie and I are going to be visiting while we're in England, and that is Bath. Now, again, from previous sessions, if you haven't seen any of the previous sessions, know that I have over the years gravitated toward a couple of what I call patron saints. Individuals who, through study, line up real well with what my wife and I are looking for when we travel. And so I call them the patron saint of Rick Steves and the patron saint of the Lonely Planet folks. And so when we go through this today, I'm not sure how this will come together, but just want to look at what they're suggesting in the area and how it matches to what Jackie and I are looking for during a regular visit. But first, the details. We're going to be flying in on Delta Airlines. We'll be flying on their Delta One cabin. Now, that's pretty pricey, and it's certainly not going to be for everyone. I have flown it before. I have some points and miles to use from the COVID years where some cancellation flights happened, so it wasn't quite the full price, but it certainly is an eye-opener. But if you're a guy of my size and the ability to lay completely flat, lay on your side when you sleep, and just the amenities, if you can go to that type of cabin, this is where I would spend the money for the long overnight flights. Now, once we get into Heathrow, we're going to be picked up once we get out of customs and pick up our luggage by a group that's called Celtic Horizons. Now, I priced out a train to leave from London to go out to Bath. We will have a rental car later, but in this case, we're going to just need to get from London out to Bath. And if you're going to take the train, which is perfectly doable, you need to get your luggage in Heathrow, and then you need to go down into the underground of the tube and take the tube out to Piccadilly, and then you get up out of Piccadilly and then get out of the train and take the train over to Bath. I just thought that'd be a nightmare to do with, especially with my wife who has not traveled internationally. So we have a driver that'll pick us up. Now, surprisingly, the price on this compared to the train, it's almost a wash. And so I would strongly suggest you take a look at it. The Celtic Horizons folks pick you right up, sign your name on a sign. They pick you up, they bring you out, they load your luggage into the car or the little van or whatever you have, and off you go for a very pleasant 2-hour drive. And that 2-hour drive is going to take us right past Stonehenge and other things. You'll be able to see some sights, and the drivers are very interactive. The more you wish to talk with them, the more you're going to learn about your experience. We had a great visit with them the first time out there, and I expect the same will happen this time. But then here we get in. So we'll arrive into Heathrow around 7:30 in the morning. It's an overnight flight from where we're leaving from. So that gets us there, and we basically will have, according to St. Rick, you could spend up to 3 full days in Bath. He actually suggests 3 to 4, and one of those would be like getting out into the countryside. We're going to actually go out to the countryside on the last day, but not return to Bath. So we'll keep that as a separate session. So we'll have 2 full days and 2 full nights in Bath. So let's kind of go through some details here and talk about, basically break down when I'm doing my planning into things to see, where am I sleeping, and what am I going to eat or drink. That's the world that Jackie and I live in. So, St. Rick in his thing has some outstanding items, and these are kind of like the gotta sees, the must be at these locations, because this is just the things to see. So those key areas are, the Pulteney Bridge, the Bath Abbey, the Royal Crescent, the Circus, and the Roman Baths. Those are the must-see, the 3 stars. You gotta go see them if you possibly have a chance, especially the Roman Baths. Both the patron saints of Lonely Planet and the patron saint Rick Steves both line up behind Roman Baths. They also add Bath Abbey as a gotta see, and I would agree with both of that. So those are the must-sees, and then you kind of build your day around, or you build your trip around those must-sees. And so when we did our work on it, in addition to those, we added the Abbey churchyards and the parade gardens as a place to wander through. And then there's a number of different ideas too. And these are things that we're not going to do, but based on your interests, these are recommended from different graces. If I go to the Lonely Planet folks, they would add the Thermae Bath Spa. My wife and I are not into spas, but if you are into spas, that's a place you should go. They also talk about the Bizarre Bath Street Theater group. So if you're looking for a good tour type of thing afterwards, a lot of fun and games, they strongly suggest that one. The Jane Austen Center is also a bit located in Bath. And so if that was part of your childhood and growing up, you got to make sure you go do that. There's a fantastic Victorian art museum. There's a fashion museum. There's an American museum and gardens. There's all of these different things you can do. That if it is your cup of tea, I'm a museum person. My wife's not as much of a museum gal. So how do you balance that where you go to the Roman baths, which is a museum and a place but you got to go? Or a strong suggestion, but I'm not taking her to the Herschel Museum of Astronomy. I went to that last time I was here with a friend, but that is my cup of tea, but it's not hers. And so that's how we divided it. St. Rick also talks about he's had some fantastic walking tours. The folks at Lonely Planet don't have one, but the ones St. Rick certainly does. He has his regular walking tour of the city center, and he also has a walking tour of the town center. And so when you get a chance to take those up, he has a fantastic app. You can actually put in headphones, and if you're that kind of person that likes to listen to an audio tour, you could just follow right along and you'll love what Rick does. So it covers the kind of the things we're going to see over a couple of 2+ days. Not that stressful, so a total number of things we're probably going to stop and see is 7, 8. Not a big deal. Now, so that covers the sites. Now, once you know the sites, in many places you can look at where you're going to stay. And because you want to get a place to stay that doesn't require a tremendous amount of bus riding or cab riding or car driving in and out when you go to places. Now, so St. Rick does a great job of breaking things down by neighborhood, by the neighborhood of things you can look at. And he prices them by, $4 signs down to $1 sign, budget on the one and the off the charts on the 4 end. Depends on the type of people you are. My wife and I will normally stay at a pretty nice place. It's just part of the ambience of what we're looking for. But I have stayed in hostels in my life as well, so it goes both ways. A couple of things that both of them agree on. They agree on three Abbey Gardens, Queensbury, and Gray's Bluff. Gray's Bluff was they love that, and Lonely Planet. I would add to it the Rosette Villa, I think I'm saying that right. That is like the Taj Mahal, the 4-4, if you're really looking for the best of the best to go to. My wife and I chose the Abbey Hotel, which is actually a Marriott property. It's part of their prestige or their autograph collection. That's just across just outside of the Abbey Center. It's the center of everything. Very old building. I think will be a great fit for my wife to start. It'll be something she's kind of used to, that feeling of a hotel, but it'll be old and unique enough and great location. I stayed there last time. I think we're going to really like staying there. So that's where we're staying. But do your own work. Map out where you're going to be. I use Google Maps a lot. I'll plug in every location because I can also load those offline and have them on my phone when I'm traveling around to look for instructions in places. Okay, so we got sites. We got where we're sleeping. So the last thing is, where are we eating, right? Where are we eating? And for my wife and I, we take it into two different things. I shared with you earlier that I'm a big fan of road food, the site road food and the book road food, and the concept of road food. Now, that in the United States, lots of good stuff there. The actual road food place works very well for the United States, but overseas, not so much. So maybe it's pub or grub food you're looking for, but we tend to focus those things as we move throughout the day, and we tend to put in a pretty nice dinner at night. So normally I will look for restaurant suggestions that we call eat well or eat pub, and you're looking for unique experience. No chains if you can get rid of the chains. Get rid of the places where either the experience is special, the quality is special, the ingredients are special, and it's more authentic, and it helps a local person in the neighborhood versus some big chain. We can all stop at chains all over the place. That's not what we do. So here's a couple of things we focused on in the Eat Well area. There's a restaurant that both St. Rick and St. Lonely Planet love. It's called The Circus. For high-end English dining. Probably have to dress up a little bit for it, so think about that as well. Do you want to bring those clothes to do that with? But there you go. Two other ones. One is called a restaurant called 8, and the other one is called a restaurant called Clayton's Kitchen. Now, just FYI, 8 and Clayton's Kitchen are the two restaurants that we have chosen for this trip. We have reservations at both of them. And so when you come back, when we're actually there, we'll be able to post some reviews on those two sites. I've eaten at Clayton's Kitchen. It's worth a return visit. I have not eaten at 8's. And then here's a couple to close this up at this over 10 minutes already here. But to close up, some grub food. Garrick's Head is suggested in both books. The Crystal Palace and the Raven are suggested. Now, when it comes to just grabbing a drink, which we certainly do and enjoy the pubs and the friendliness that you find. You'll never short of conversation if you're looking for a conversation in an English pub. But we've got the Star Inn, we've got the Bell, and then remember the Old Green Tree. That was actually my first bar, and I'm really excited to take my wife back to there. Just a great English pub experience. But that kind of wraps up how we're looking at Bath. So fly in, get in the morning, get to Bath, spend 2 days in Bath, and then move on from there. So when we come to the next episode, it'll be leaving Bath. It'll be the picking up of a rental car and heading out into the countryside, into Glastonbury and Wells and Avebury, and we can talk about Stonehenge during that one as well. So there you go. It's enough for now. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll probably refine this a little bit as we go along. But I hope you've at least enjoyed how we look into the different places we're going to visit. Until next time, take care.